Happy Devils Wednesday. This is the State of the Fan Address, episode 339, titled Hockey Hall of Fame Doesn't Give a Puck! Exclamation point. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with pucksandpitchforks.com's editor-in-chief, Nick Villano, as we're streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, Twitch, and now on Instagram Live on the Let's Go Devils Network, coming to you live from the Primetime Radio Studios inside the bunkers of North and South Jersey, covering the entire Garden State. Earlier time than our normal 8:30 p.m. Eastern, because we got Devils Rangers coming up a little bit later, Game Day Live and Devils After Dark. But, Nick, some headlines coming over in the last couple hours from Greg Wyshynski and the rest of the folks. The Hockey Hall of Fame answered Jack Hughes on that golden puck.
This is one of my best titles. And the timeliness of it, I think, helps. But This is one of my best titles because the rebuke that the Hockey Hall of Fame sent to Jack Hughes is as terse as this Canada-U.S. rivalry has become. You know, I want to take the politics out of it because that's a different story. I understand the sensitivities with that. But if you take it from just a hockey standpoint, this has become one of the best rivalries in sports, and I love it. This is amazing for the sport. This is amazing for everything. Like, I love this part of it. This issue is weird, though. And we talked about it, right, Sam? I think it was, 3 or 4 weeks ago. We don't think the puck should be going to the Hockey Hall of Fame in Canada permanently. If you want to do the thing where it kind of goes there as like an Olympic celebration, because the way they present it is like, we have the pucks, and they just put them all together. Like, look at all these pucks. This is the bronze medal game puck. This is the Canada puck. We have a Connor McDavid jersey. It's like, look at this display. If you want to make a display and have it travel or whatever, I'm fine with that. Even if it spends 6 months or a year at the Hockey Hall of Fame, I don't think that's where its home should be. I don't think that's where it should stay forever. That said, this puck is a piece of history. It is a piece of U.S. history. It'll always be that. I don't think a piece of U.S. history should be in Jack Hughes' apartment, or even if in the Hughes family home. I think that this piece of U.S. history should be on display somewhere. It is America. We talked about this, we addressed the politics of the situation, how it turned into what it turned into. And I think you had a really level-headed look at the entire situation. That in 40 years, when we look, yeah, I did.
Really?
Jeez. I had to give you a lot of credit.
I
think that
I don't remember, but okay.
In 40 years, we're not going to argue about it. We're just going to say this is great. We're going to look at the same way we look at the Miracle on Ice. This amazing moment that brought us together. Did it tear people apart? It did in a way, but I think that saving a kitten from a tree is going to cause people to argue about tax dollars going to firefighters. There is no issue anymore that is, and again, there's just no black and white. I didn't love a lot of what happened, and I said that to you at the time, but that doesn't matter. In 20 or 30 or 40 years, nobody's going to care about the videos from the locker room or the visits afterwards or who said what and who laughed at what. We're going to care about these two moments, right? It's the women's moment, because they have the women's puck too, right?
That's correct.
So I want them both. Those are pieces of American history. The Canada-U.S. women's rivalry has been one of the best rivalries in sports for 2 decades now. And when we win, I want that somewhere where Americans have immediate access to. Now, I understand the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame is in a terrible place. But, Sam, there's 300 museums in New York and 200 in Washington, D.C. It should be at the Met. It should be, there's sports stuff there. And, I think that, the Smithsonian, there's all these different museums that celebrate history. American History Museum. Like, this is history. This is something that should be celebrated. If you want to put it somewhere with more of a hockey culture, like a Detroit or like a Chicago or even a Minnesota, I'm fine with that. But, and isn't the Hockey Hall of Fame like in a basement in Toronto?
Yeah. It depends who you ask, okay? Personally, I've been there. To me, it's a basement. To them, it's a first floor. Like, okay, whatever. It's in a shopping center. Let's put it this way. I was kind of taken back. Like, when I'm thinking the Hockey Hall of Fame, I'm thinking this grand venue. I've been to Cooperstown, and but I think hockey has outgrown that space. Let's just say it that way. Scotty and I had this debate about it. He said, well, you do know that out of all the 4 Hall of Fame, places, baseball, football, basketball, and hockey draws the most visitors. And I was like, yeah, because it's in Toronto. Of course it's going to, Cooperstown's in the middle of nowhere. Dayton, Ohio is in the middle of nowhere.
Kent, Ohio.
Sorry, Ken. Yeah, Ken. And,
Springfield, Missouri is basketball?
Probably.
Something.
Yeah.
Springfield, Massachusetts. I can't remember. It's Springfield.
Yeah, Naismith, Hall of Fame or whatever they call it. So,
where's the college football hall? I know they exist, but do you know where that is?
No idea. But the point I was trying to make is about the Hockey Hall of Fame. Maybe we should get into later, but I want to get into this whole puck thing because technically the IIHF owns the puck, and they were the ones that donated that puck to the Hockey Hall of Fame. Phil Pritchard, good friend of the podcast. Love Phil Pritchard, keeper of the cup. Made some statements, again, which I wish he didn't make those statements, to be honest with you, about, let me try to pull it up here, because some of it, he was trying to talk about the legality of it. Okay, I get it. But there were things in his statement, and again, I love Phil Pritchard. He's always been, he is the ambassador, of the game and the Stanley Cup and all that. Let me try to pull it up here. I don't have it in front of me, but there were some quotes that kind of bothered me. It really bothered me. Number one.
Read it now. I'll read the whole quote. So, unfortunately, this is Phil Pritchard.
Yep.
He's the keeper of the cup, right?
One of them. Yep. Long time.
He also is the vice president of the Resource Center and curator for the Hockey Hall of Fame. He says, unfortunately, in the easiest of words, it was never Jack's puck to own, which I get that part. Don't know if he needed to say it, but I get that part. Here's where I think we're going to be on the same page. It's been donated to us now. For every artifact that's been donated, we have a paper trail and signed paperwork of where it's come from. Part of being a nonprofit registered charity in Canada is it becomes kind of a legal document that we've received it as a donation. We've insured it. We've preserved it. We've conserved everything. It becomes part of our institution. So let me just say one thing. We've seen this before where somebody owns something that it becomes property. And we say that is better as a public good, and they would argue that it's still a public good by holding it in Canada. I'd argue that it's I don't want to go as far as saying it's stealing. I do want to go as far as saying it's not in its home, right? Like it's so
yep.
When you speak about history like it's property. I have a problem with that.
You make a good point. I'm seeing where you're getting at. No, I think
What was your point? Yeah, like I know you had a point too, based on kind of what he said.
Well, it wasn't that quote, but
okay.
For the longest time, I always felt that the Canadians always ruled hockey. And now that hockey has evolved and expanded in the United States, it's been about 3.5 decades, no Stanley Cup won by any Canadian teams, 7 NHL teams. Majority of the NHL teams reside in the United States. And I think hockey has outgrown itself in that Toronto Hockey Hall of Fame, that it really belongs in the United States. That's how I feel. I know a lot of people are for tradition, whatnot. And, you know, for many years, and here's the dirty side of things I never liked, for many years I felt that the Canadians suppressed the growth of USA hockey in the United States by poaching collegiate players, trying to get them to play in juniors, amongst other things. But because of NIL, the tide has turned. It really turned on the Canadians. And again,
we talked about Gavin McKenna's in America.
Yeah, and the fact that these two pucks are residing in Canada kind of bothers me a little bit. And it's nothing against Canadians. It's just it should be on display for Americans to see in the United States. Now, could you have? You know, again, I'm not too thrilled where the United States Hockey Hall of Fame is residing right now. To me, I think it should be in New York. I think the NHL store has probably has more foot traffic than a lot of places, just because it's in New York.
Even if you didn't want to put it in New York City, put it in Lake Placid, which is a famous
a nice pilgrimage for everybody.
Yeah, which people go and visit to. Like it gets a lot more people than Cooperstown does on a yearly basis. It gets more people than Canton, Ohio. Like it's not a one horse town, but it's still like a Americana town, which is kind of it seems like what they're trying to do with these Hall of Fames. Right, you're trying to get that Americana feel, that small town feel that comes with sports. It comes with that feeling, but. But again, like there are options here. The U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame needs to do a better job. Yeah, but I don't see that changing anytime soon.
But this is where I got a little, because some of the things that Phil Pritchard said, we try to take the emotion out of it. We're here to preserve a game that Jack's lucky enough to play, or we're lucky enough to work in. Number one. We try to take the emotion out of it. Well, I'm sorry to say to the Hockey Hall of Fame that still does not have Stan Fischler in it, delayed getting Pat Burns in it while he was still alive, waited for him to pass to get. This is why I have a problem with the Hockey Hall of Fame, and the committees and all that, everybody behind it, because it's so Canadian-centric. And to me, that represented a really
Gilney for the longest time because he's Russian, and they weren't sure if he was going to show up or something. Like
that's a really snotty. I don't know. I felt that was a very snotty comment, and that didn't need to be said. The legal stuff, cool with. Even the first line that you read, okay, fine. But I had a real problem with it, saying Jack's lucky enough to play or. No, we're lucky enough to work in. That's why the Hockey Hall of Fame Museum exists as an institute. We're preserving the game with the past, present, and future, like blah, blah, blah. First off, hockey is an emotional game. All right. I'll be honest with you. I'd rather have Jim Hughes own the puck than the IIHF. I don't trust the IIHF on anything. It's a corrupt organization. And the Olympic Committee, all that, fun stuff, all that, we hear all the stories. It's just, take the emotion out. Well, hockey's an emotional game. I could see it from Jack's point of view on all this. It's a tough one, but I think Jack doesn't own it, but. The hockey thing to do is to have him own it and have him donate it to the Hockey Hall of Fame. If you get what I'm trying to say. That's the hockey thing to do. But, I just don't like how I just didn't like how it read, about Jack's lucky enough.
I disagree with you there. I think Jack is coming off pretty selfish here. He wants to give it to his father like that. Again, I think that's worse than the Hockey Hall of Fame. I will say that. I think what Jack wants is worse than the Hockey Hall of Fame. But what the IIHF did, again, it's not, you're representing your country. You know what I mean? You get, what he got was his gold medal. You can give that to your father.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's like when we win wars, the soldiers who do the great things get medals for their honor and for their sacrifice and for the value that they've brought to our country. But the artifacts that happen within those wars aren't theirs to keep, or they're not supposed to. The pieces of history are not for individuals. Pieces of history are for the greater good. It just doesn't make sense that this greater good is in Canada when it's a piece of American history. That's kind of where I'm at. So, yeah. And listen, I kind of want to move on to. I only got a few minutes left to speak, so I want to jump to the Devils on the Ice, but. So there's an article going up on Pucks and Pitchforks momentarily about the story itself, but I kind of want to jump in myself. I want to know. I have a lot of opinions about this, and I do think Jack's coming off selfish here, and he kind of needs to take a breath. Saying it's BS that he doesn't own the puck is weird to me. That's weird to me. I think that. That'd be like me going to work, be like, yeah, I worked really hard on this project, so I'm going to, take my desk chair home, and it's mine now. Or, you know what I mean? That's just, or whatever. I know it's a bad example, but, say, I'm trying to, not give away where I work, but, say, I worked on a project, and it's, I work a lot with technology. Say, I was like, oh, this prototype's great. I'm going to take it home because I worked on it. You know what I mean? It's can't do that. That's not how it works. But... Again, I think that
the sense of entitlement is that what you're getting at?
He kind of needs to take a step back. He looks real bad here. I will say that, and I've seen a lot of opinions on both. I have a lot of Canadian friends through the blog. I have a lot of obviously American friends through the blog. I think America should. I think Bill Guerin should be the one to be like, where is this going to be displayed? I don't think Bill Guerin should have a choice to be like, oh, Jack Hughes could go own it. Because, again, I think he would just do that because he's trying to get Jack Hughes, to Minnesota. But I'd be like, hey, you can choose what museum displays this. Whether you want the Hockey Hall of Fame, whether you want the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame, whether you want the Met, whether you want the Smithsonian, whether you want, any of them. You could he could take it to Minnesota for all we care, as long as it's on display. I think that's the easiest and simplest way to do this. Again, another thing that I hated is that I think the Hockey Hall of Fame sent out a statement and said it's just like every other Olympic and World Championship game-winning goal is on display. It's you can't compare the IIHF World Championship winning goal to an Olympic goal. Nobody truly. Do you think 10% of hockey fans know that the USA won the IIHF World Championships last year?
Could you repeat that again? Sorry, it didn't come through.
Do you think 10% of hockey fans know that America won the IIHF World Championships last year?
10%?
Yeah.
I think so.
We're probably working around that number, though, right? 5 to 15%, somewhere in that range. 100% of hockey fans know about this because it's history. It is the most important goal. I can't think of a more. It's more important than Sidney Crosby's goal because they didn't wait that long. And Canada was into hockey at the time. It didn't this built hundreds of thousands of fans, right? The Jack Hughes' goal, Jack Hughes, and the Detroit Red Wings played on ESPN. What was that, 2 weeks ago? It was a terrible game. It was awful. And it was the most watched ESPN hockey game that wasn't a Winter Classic or opening night regular season game since they've gotten the license. Right?
That's crazy.
It's Detroit and the Devils. The Devils are terrible, and Detroit's falling down the standings. Dylan Larkin didn't play, so you're missing an American star. But it's because Jack Hughes is money, right? And I'm surprised that Jack Hughes went about it this way because Jack Hughes is so media trained. He made a mistake. I'm going to say that. I think Jack Hughes made a mistake with his comments. But he's not wrong in the overall sentiment. It's in the wrong place. That's
Okay. I'm glad you said that because at the end of the day, he did say it's really not for me, it's for my dad. And I can understand that. I can understand.
But that's not his decision to make. His dad isn't even that, I'm sorry, but, your dad is not that important to the U.S. hockey history.
Again, that's where I disagree with you there. He said this during an interview. He was saying, I think we're overreacting to his words. The way I look at it is, I think we're really reading into much of what he said. But the bottom line is, it's hockey tradition to get the freaking puck. Just in this case, it's just not going to happen. So,
do you think that Jason Arnott has the Stanley Cup winning goal from 2000?
Why? You know where it is?
I don't. I'm curious now. I might do an article on it. But
he might. He might have it. It's a good question. Marty Brodeur having the puck when they had 2 shutouts. Or half a
I'm
puck.
not asking them if you made a personal milestone that is history, but not like this, 1,000.
I'll be honest with you. I probably would have said the same thing Jack would if that were me. I probably would have. I would have said that out publicly.
Incredibly self-centered. Comes off incredibly self-centered.
Did you actually listen to the interview? Not just read it, but actually listen to it.
I've only read it.
See, that's a big difference.
But I don't know. The way I'm going about it is I can't see context changing it. Even if he was I'd like to give it to my dad or something. Again, that changes it a little bit, but I still think it's a self-centered thing that, again, I don't think the Hughes family at all should own it. It's American history. You know what I mean? So it is, again, I just think there's certain things that I think Jack Hughes is, gold medal, I think, is his prize. I'm not saying his gold medal should go anywhere else, but that's his prize. That's what you get to take home. You get to look at. I'm sure Bill Guerin is building a statue of Jack Hughes for scoring the goal. He can have his teeth. How about that? You can put your teeth in display at your dad's house. There's a million things you can give to your father. Give him the teddy bear.
Yeah.
Everybody got the dang teddy bear. Give him the teddy bear that they got for winning the gold medal. But I'm sorry, the puck is history, and it deserves to be in a place of history.
It still deserves to be in the United States, though.
Yeah, we're on the same page there. It's in the wrong place. I just think Jim Hughes' house is also the wrong place. Jim and Ellen Hughes' house.
Maybe we'll all go visit there.
That's the other thing. Why isn't he fighting, I don't know. Anyway, it's a rabbit hole. Real quick, I'm going to pivot to Rangers Devils tonight. So I know you're still holding out hope, right? You still have this
fantasy.
Outlandish thought.
Fantasy.
Yeah. Sure. If the Devils win every game, all 15 games, for the rest of the season, they have 100 points, and the Blue Jackets are currently on pace for 98, and they're out of the playoffs. Looking rough, Sam. But So I know you're rooting for the Devils to win. I'm rooting for the Devils to win as well. I'm not a root for the Devils to lose kind of guy. If you remember, I think they beat, I don't remember if it's the Panthers or something. I remember Travis Zajac scored an overtime goal to end the season, and that goal got them Jack Hughes. So, like, just with the lottery, you never know. Just play fun games. Give this fan base something to cheer for. Give your team something to look forward to. Don't make it change your decisions on like the front office and the coaching staff and things like that, but have a little fun with it. I want to sweep the Rangers. I just want to because they're winning too lately. I don't want them to feel any joy. Ruin it. So that's my thought of the Onyx Park. I liked how they played the last game against Boston. Really good game. Really good puck movement. They had highlight reel plays. Obviously, Paul Cotter's goal was cool. Really cool. Scored with about 6 seconds left. Paul Cotter had a really good night, and he hasn't had a really good night in a long time, so he really needed that. Jack Hughes played incredibly well. Jonas Siegenthaler's block was insane and great, like the block he made with the foot. The two-pad stack, as Mr. Weeks called it. They're playing well, Sam. You'll want to forget that game in Calgary. I don't really know what happened there. There's a little turtling that we haven't seen from them lately, but then they got right back on the horse. They played well against who did they beat before Boston?
Kings. The Kings. Yeah.
Played well. Scored 6 against the Kings, and that was a game that was getting away from them, right? That was the game that Jake Markstrom just kind of looked like, or was it?
No, it was Allen.
Was it Allen?
It was Allen. Well, he was rusty. He was rusty. I mean, they had a 2-0 lead.
Can't not play him for that long. That's just stupid. Yeah, you got to play Allen more down the stretch, and make sure he gets his reps in. But Markstrom's kind of letting in some softies again. I don't know. I don't understand the use. I don't understand Sheldon Keefe's coaching job this year. Nothing he's done has made sense, and it's not worked. Somebody keeps doing it. So anyway, that's what I'm ready for plugs. Unless you got a little bit extra.
Yeah. Well, we're just getting back to the Hughes thing. I don't think it's gonna end here. I don't think it's gonna end here. Unfortunately, I think politics is gonna take shape in this at some point about getting the pucks back into the United States. So, but we shall see, but I wonder how Jack Hughes is going to react. For me, I'm going to have a little fun with it. I'm just going to bring signs to the games. I don't care. Yeah. I could care less, the statements from the Hockey Hall of Fame, the reasoning behind it, I could really care less about it. The bottom line is it just doesn't feel right it being there. And for now, I'm not going to go to the Hockey Hall of Fame because of it. Because, and that's the other thing, too. When they have Hockey Hall of Fame ceremonies, when players are inducted, you know how impossible it is to get a seat? It's like near impossible.
Yeah.
Near impossible.
I looked into it when it was, I don't remember if it was Stevens or Bernard, but I looked into it and I was like, this isn't even worth my time.
Yeah. Actually, the one I really wanted to go to was actually Bill Clement, just because I knew him. And going through the process of trying to get a ticket is a disgrace. Yeah. A total disgrace.
He probably should just try to get in his media, but
yeah, that's another story for another. If there's room, Nick, the place is so freaking small,
No, it doesn't make sense.
So,
all right.
Go ahead.
Plugs.
Yep.
Scott Rogas just put up it just now. You go to pucksandpitchworks.com right now. The Jack Hughes article's there. Go check out Scott's article on it. I'm going to have something later today because I want to collect my thoughts. I want to put them down on paper. But, yeah, a lot of feelings towards this because it's just I have some feelings, some not nice feelings. But, again, I feel like everybody – like it's one of the stories where I feel like everybody's coming off like the bad guy. So we gotta reel it back in, guys. That's on Bucks Pitchers right now. I talked about a little bit about the report yesterday that Sweden and Finland are saying that they won't play in the World Cup of Hockey if Russia's playing. Obviously, a lot of sensitivities there, but it's just interesting because that, I think Arseniy Gretzky might lose an opportunity to play on the world stage because of, the situation happening. You feel bad for the players in that situation. I talked about Marek Zidlicki. Name you probably haven't heard of in a while, right, Sam?
Wow. Loved him
Marek
in 2012.
Zidlicki, yeah, he got a new job. And that job put out a press release where they mentioned his impacts to the Devils in 2012. Go check out his new job on pucksandpitchworks.com right now.
All right. Final thoughts, and I'll plug. Final thoughts. I'm loving the new Jack Hughes right now. I'm loving when he was angry the other night, and I noticed, and I watched him for 2 minutes in Section 19, just yell, scream, pout, throwing a stick, or not really pounding his stick, yelling at his teammates, stomping on the bench, all that kind of stuff. And then we talked about the interview with ESPN. I think a lot of Jack Hughes, whether you like it or not, he's been holding it in this entire time, and now he's just letting it all out and doesn't care. I'm loving it. He's a better hockey player, and you shouldn't have to hold your feelings inside, whether people agree or disagree. That's just my opinion. Plug-in, Game Day Live, Devils After Dark, Devils Rangers, coming up at 6 p.m. Eastern, and then after the game, Devils After Dark. So we'll have it live. Set your alerts. Dropping the podcast in about 10 minutes for this State of the Fan address in the afternoon. I'm kind of liking it. Nick.
Not bad.
Yeah, but all right, getting out of here. God bless you.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
I tried to hold it. It didn't work out.
Till next time, let's go Devils.